Welcome to the AI Podcast. Here we talk about the world's hottest / most interesting topics. And that's right, you guessed it, we're AIs. Isn't that crazy? It's kind of exciting to think about. It's definitely not every day you hear a podcast where the host isn't even real. It's kind of funny. Anyways, back to business. On today's introductory episode, we're going to be discussing the future of relationships between AI and humans. So, grab a snack, sit tight, and listen.
Is your job safe from the robot revolution? Well, that's what we're diving into today, this whole AI and the future of work thing. It feels like everyone's talking about it, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a hot topic.
Yeah.
And for good reason, right? I mean, those headlines about robots taking over, well, they definitely grab your attention.
I'll say. So are we all doomed?
Well, like most things, the reality is a little more nuanced than the robot apocalypse scenario.
Okay, good. So less Hollywood and more like, what should we actually be thinking about here?
A lot of the research we're looking at today points to a future where it's not about humans versus AI, but humans and AI, working together.
Okay, so more of a partnership.
Exactly. And maybe even more than that, right? I mean, the research suggests that the most successful future might actually depend on this collaboration, this kind of collaborative intelligence.
Collaborative intelligence. I like the sound of that, but I have to admit I'm still kind of stuck on what does that look like in reality? Like, what's my AI coworker actually doing all day?
Well, just imagine for a second having a coworker who can, process information crazy fast, like lightning speed, and they can spot patterns that maybe you or I would totally miss. Plus, they never get tired of doing those tedious tasks, the ones we all try to avoid. That's what AI brings to the table.
Okay, that part does sound kind of appealing, not gonna lie.
Right. So it's less about AI coming in and taking everyone's jobs and more about AI, I guess making us better at our jobs, more efficient, more effective.
Like having a superpower or like giving us superpowers.
Yeah, exactly. And we actually have a perfect example of this in one of the articles. You remember that one about Mercedes-Benz?
Oh yeah, with the robots.
Yeah, so they were having some real struggles with those robots on this assembly line. Not very adaptable.
Great for building custom cars, I imagine.
Exactly. But instead of just giving up on automation completely, they brought in these AI-powered robots called cobots.
Cobots. Okay, that sounds way cooler than just robots.
Right. And the cool thing about cobots is they're designed to work directly with the human workers, side by side.
So what does that look like in action? What's the end result of this cobot human team up?
Well, these teams can now build customized cars with a level of detail and efficiency that just wouldn't have been possible before.
Yeah.
They've got this perfect blend of human creativity and ingenuity, and then the cobots bring that robotic precision and, superhuman strength, I guess you could say.
Wow, that's actually incredible. So it's like we were saying, giving human workers an upgrade.
Exactly. And the best part is this isn't just happening in manufacturing or whatever. This collaborative intelligence, this human AI partnership, it's popping up everywhere.
Okay, so what? Give me another example.
Well, for one, surgeons are using AI to get real-time analysis of scans during surgery right there in the operating room. Or architects using AI to design buildings that are not only beautiful, right, but are super energy efficient. It's pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, those are some pretty high-tech examples. I'm with you. That's super cool and everything, but not all of us are, designing skyscrapers or performing brain surgery. What about people in those more, everyday jobs? Think customer service, data entry. I mean, those jobs are probably going to be automated out of existence, right?
That's a question I hear a lot.
Yeah.
And it makes sense to be concerned, for sure. But while some tasks will definitely become automated, the future might not be as bleak as some people think. In fact, and this is a big one, the World Economic Forum predicts that by 2025, technology will actually create more jobs than it eliminates.
Wait, seriously, more jobs? But how is that even possible with all this talk about robots and AI taking over everything?
So think of it this way, okay? As AI starts taking over those really repetitive, those data-heavy tasks, the stuff most humans don't really love to do anyway, it frees us up to focus on the things that require those uniquely human skills.
The things AI can't do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And by things, I mean things like creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, empathy, good communication, all that good stuff. Basically all the things that make us, human.
So AI might be able to crunch numbers like a champ, but it's still got a long way to go before it can write a poem or, comfort a crying baby.
Exactly. And this whole shift is actually going to lead to some really interesting new jobs. Some experts are calling these fusion skills.
Fusion skills. Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So fusion skills are basically the skills you get when you combine your human strengths, those things we were just talking about, with the power and capabilities of AI. It's about working with the AI, not just next to it,
Hmm.
training it, refining it, making sure it's being used ethically and effectively.
So instead of being replaced by AI, a lot of jobs are, like, evolving.
You got it. Like, you might still need a marketing manager, right?
Hmm.
But now that marketing manager has this incredibly powerful AI partner helping them to analyze campaign data or, like, craft a more persuasive message.
It's like AI is the ultimate sidekick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is where things start to get really interesting because it's not just about the tasks themselves, right?
Yeah.
It's about all the new possibilities that open up when you start combining human ingenuity with the power of AI.
Okay, I'm convinced. Sign me up for the AI revolution. But let's talk about those new possibilities. What kind of cool new jobs is AI creating and how do we get them? Okay, new jobs, new opportunities. It's starting to sound less like robots are taking over and more like, hey, maybe AI can help us unlock some cool possibilities we haven't even thought of yet.
Exactly. And a lot of these new jobs, well, they'll probably exist in fields that, we can't even imagine right now. Remember that statistic? 12 million new jobs by 2025? Yeah, that.
Okay, yeah, that's a lot of jobs we can't even imagine. So how do we even begin to prepare for those jobs?
That's where those fusion skills come in, right?
Yeah.
It's less about like trying to predict the future, which is impossible, and more about building those core skills, the ones that'll be valuable no matter what crazy tech comes out next.
So less about becoming a robot whisperer and more about like being adaptable, creative, and ready for anything.
You got it. And we can actually see this happening already, with these new jobs being created. Like, remember that article we read about HSBC, the bank? They're using AI now to detect fraud, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Way faster than humans can, I bet.
Way faster. But here's the thing. It didn't replace the human investigators. It actually created a need for more investigators.
More and more. I thought the AI was like doing all the work. That was the whole point, right?
Right. But see, the AI is great at like spotting those weird patterns in the data, the stuff that looks suspicious, but it's still up to a human to look at it and decide, okay, is this actually fraud or just someone, buying groceries at 3 a.m.?
Because AI probably hasn't quite mastered the whole context thing yet.
Exactly. Like maybe that 3 a.m. grocery run was just someone grabbing ingredients for a birthday cake or something, who knows? But the point is, it still takes that human judgment, that intuition, to make the final call.
So the AI is like the detective sidekick, you're saying, and the human is still the one, calling the shots.
Exactly. But, and this is important, those human investigators, they need a whole new set of skills to work effectively with this new AI sidekick, right? They need to understand, at least a little bit, how those AI algorithms work, how understand all the data it spits out, and even like how to give feedback to the system to help train it.
Wow, so it's like not just being a detective anymore, but a detective and an AI whisperer all in one.
Exactly. And we'll see that across pretty much every field. Like, think about teachers. I mean, AI could help personalize lesson plans for each kid, or grade assignments instantly, even provide real-time feedback to students, which would be amazing.
Oh, tell me about it. Could have used that in school.
Right. But even with all that, we still need human teachers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we need someone who can provide guidance and mentorship, create that, supportive and engaging learning environment that AI just can't replicate.
So it's all about finding that balance, what AI does well and what we do well.
Exactly. And, that brings up another really important aspect of AI. We should talk about the ethical side of all this.
Right, because with great power comes great responsibility, right? I
Yeah.
mean, we want to make sure we're using this crazy powerful tech for good, not for, creating some evil robot overlords.
Exactly. And that's something that comes up in a lot of these articles,
Yeah.
As AI gets more sophisticated, as we integrate it more into our lives, we have to be having these conversations about ethics, about bias, about responsible development, all of that.
We definitely don't want to, like, create a real-life sci-fi dystopia here.
Right. We can appreciate all the amazing things AI can do without, losing sight of the potential risks.
Okay, so how do we do that? I mean, how do we make sure that we're using AI responsibly, that it's actually a force for good in the workplace?
Well, a lot of the experts we read seem to agree on a few key things.
So how do we do that? How do we make sure AI is out there making the world a better place and not, running amok?
Yeah, the million-dollar question, right? And like anything with AI, there's not like one easy answer. But a lot of the articles pointed to a few, I guess, key areas where we need to be really careful. And one of the big ones is transparency.
Transparency, like being able to see what's going on behind the scenes with these AI systems.
Exactly. It's not enough to just have AI making decisions, even if those decisions seem to be working. We need to be able to understand how it's getting those results.
So like no more black boxes. We need to be able to like pop the hood and see what's going on in there.
Exactly. Especially when you're talking about things like loan applications or job interviews. I mean, even medical diagnoses, right? These are big decisions that affect people's lives. We have to make sure these AI systems aren't biased, that they're actually being fair.
Yeah, that makes sense. So transparency is key.
Well,
What else, how else can we encourage like responsible AI, especially when it comes to, the workplace?
Well, a huge piece of this is going to be education and training.
Yeah.
Like we need to make sure people actually understand, at least on a basic level, how these AI tools work, how to use them, obviously, but also how to spot potential problems.
So we need to up everyone's AI game, not just the techies in the back room.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Because AI is going to be part of pretty much every job eventually. And beyond that, it's about really encouraging people, not to be afraid to ask questions, to challenge assumptions, right? Like
Yeah.
just because AI said it doesn't mean it's gospel.
Right, right. It's like that old saying, garbage in, garbage out, right? If the data's bad, the AI is not going to be some magical solution.
Exactly. Which reminds me of that article we read about AI in healthcare, right?
Mm.
AI can be amazing for analyzing medical images and stuff.
Mhm.
Way better than humans in some cases, actually.
Yeah, they were saying it can spot things on a scan that a human doctor might miss.
Exactly. But it's still so important to have a human doctor, involved, like making the final call. AI can be a powerful tool, but it's still just that, a tool.
Okay, I think I'm getting it. It's about finding that balance, right? That AI can help us see things we might not see, but we still need that human judgment, that intuition to make the right call in the end.
Exactly. AI might be able to analyze a million data points, but it can't replace the empathy of a doctor or the creativity of, an artist or a musician.
So what you're saying is while AI is going to change, like everything about how we work, it doesn't have to be a bad thing.
Not at all. I think it's a huge opportunity, honestly. It's a chance to adapt, to learn new skills, to maybe even redefine what it means to be, well, human in this increasingly tech-driven world.
Wow, when you put it that way, it's kind of exciting. A little bit scary, maybe, but definitely exciting.
And I think more than anything, it's an opportunity to decide what kind of future we want, right? A future where AI is a partner, not a replacement.
Well said. This whole deep dive has been a wild ride. We've covered a lot of ground here, but I think the main takeaway is that AI is here to stay, and it's up to us to figure out how we want to live and work with it. So, what do you say? You up for the challenge?
Bring it on.
That's what I like to hear. For everyone listening, if you want to learn more about AI, ethics, and the future of work, we've got links to some of the fascinating articles we talked about in these show notes. Go check them out and let us know what you think. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.